We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Garden Stream. Welcome to the Garden Stream. We are looking around for whatever is lurking within the shadows and looking at the different plants and what they do. It's much warmer tonight. It's still cold. It's still cool or cold, but it's not freezing like it was before. There's something lurking in there. Something is in this area. Okay. And just kind of go like that. There we go. All right. So we have going this way. Seeing how this goes. So far, no bandit puppies. So far. All right, so tonight specifically has been a little bit quiet, but overall, it is, some things can pop out. I was watching Bubbles' brother earlier, and he's kind of over there somewhere, walking around. He's a cat, and Claude also has been somewhere in that region too, but this way it's pretty quiet. Okay. And sometimes this is kind of random, but like ant piles, you're just like walking somewhere and an ant pile happens. Yeah, that's what I don't like to happen. Like, say like somebody wise, like, you're going somewhere and then a million red ants are like eating your leg, and then it's just like bone. But that never happened to me. But that's kind of, that's an embellishment. But that's basically like what happens sometimes. So if you take an ant pile and put it in another ant pile, they start to attack each other. They don't want to be friends. Hello there, Mason. Dude, that's weed, smoke it. No, it is not. Ghost. Roll it up in light. Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, when I would see these plants, I thought they were, but it's actually a type of... hello, Len. Welcome. It's a type of plant that it's called giant ragweed, and it's a plant the ancient people that were native to the Americas, like the Native Americans or indigenous people call them different things. Yeah, they grow really, really big, like a mythological beanstalk from those fairy tales. That's what they grow, very big, and they were used for wheat, like making bread and herbal medicines. But yeah, definitely, that's what I thought. It could have been related to it, but it's related to sunflowers technically, and they both might be related to sunflowers, but they're not related to the weed that you smoke. And yeah, but there's these plants that are not. It's like it says it's not weed, but we're real suspicious of it though. It's like, but anyway, it kind of looks like a maple leaves in a way, but it's not really that. But yeah, it's just some wild plant that grows, and it's good for hedges. The hedges are, nice for privacy, stuff like that. Okay, and that's one that died. You could dry it out, maybe use it for tomatoes, things like that. But yeah, speaking of ghosts, it definitely looks like a ghost is going to be jumping at us at some point, but so far we are okay at the moment. But I get scared of those ghosts. Now, this right here is an elderberry tree, and it has these flowers that are probably used in different fragrances, but it's technically it's a berry. Now, one time I was, thinking to myself about, like, if you eat it, you have to cook it first, because if you don't cook it, it's actually poisonous. It has cyanide in it. And never got sick, but yeah, one time I was like, I was thinking, yeah, you're not supposed to eat it without cooking it, but I'm like, I was like, I read something, oh, you could go and eat it. But then I didn't look at the fine print. Although I knew about it from a long time ago, I was being a little bit silly, but I was okay. But you're supposed to cook these things first before eating them because it's cyanide. And it's not like jump out looking kind of like for ghosts and stuff. Yeah, but ornamental plants, and this is a right there. That's the ghost that's lurking right here. Scared. There you go. All right, and here's some more of those that are just not. It's like it looks like weed, but it's not weed. And right there, yeah, the milkweeds. These are some random flowers, some kind of flower vine that grows right there. And you got more of these right here. And yeah, it's kind of cold, but I would grow peppers and stuff like that. But going to the more edible plants, which are over this way, I harvested one of them. That's a type of radish from Japan, and that's one I harvested, the crater of one that I harvested the other stream. As I do these streams pretty much every night about this, and we just kind of go in here and talk about it. And right here we have broccoli, which is a type of plant, you know what broccoli is, but yeah, I'll tell you, is that broccoli from a garden is green like that. It's when you go get them although people may not even like broccoli, but the broccoli from a plant tastes way better and it's much darker green than the other ones. Yeah, and that's a fun fact. But yeah, when I clear this up, I'm going to have, summer plants here. You'd be surprised about how many plants are actually medical herbs, because there's many plants that are just used for that we see as weeds that were used as medicines at one time. But the reason why that is that one time people were using them, then they found things that worked better, and then they discarded the plants and they just kind of just went all over the place randomly. That's what happened. There was a survival trick that I saw, was that you go, and if you, like, of course people could go look it up when they're, what to do on their own, but there's basically, if you rub a plant on your arm and it's like stings or it's kind of itchy, to stay away from it, and if it doesn't, that would work better. But of course, looking it up, which plants are good, is the best thing to do. But that, because like people could be in a survivalist situation when they're out in the wilderness somewhere, and it's a trait to know what is good and what isn't good to have. Yeah, this is a plant from the Pacific Islands somewhere, and they come back every year, and they just kind of randomly just appear in all these different locations. Right, and there's a whole bunch of them right there. All right, and just earlier I was talking to some people, to one of my friends, about Blockbuster and how they're bought by Dish Network. So what that means is, because there's one Blockbuster that still exists, and because of the network they have, because of, not Dish Network, it was, Dish Network is the one. They could hypothetically reopen all of them, but they choose not to because they have some different streaming service. And when they were doing that originally, when they had it originally, there was something called Sling TV. It was a time of like 2010. And in 2010, there was this, they still had mail. Like, you would go, like, send away for a DVD player. Not a DVD player, but you would send away for a DVD, and then you would get one. You would get the movie. Now everything's all digital. There is speculation that people might want the Netflix, because people may have problems with Netflix, and people have had enough of it, so now they want to have maybe something different. So it's possible that it could make a comeback and it would work, but a lot of people, I think, would like it. Yeah, and does anyone else think that Blockbuster would be successful reopening, like, as a digital platform or not? I like to know what people think, but I realized it was owned by a big, company. I didn't realize that now it was bought out by, Dish Network at some point. But yeah, they have a website where they tease that something's coming soon, but nothing has happened just yet. So we'll see, but it possibly could make a successful comeback. You never know. And and so far, as we're looking at the various Spooky Garden, we are watching to see, kind of like a nature cam. What do we see? There is something interesting where tree bark, is, edible. With, of course, when people do actually, if we're going to try something, go look it up to figure out what is legitimate and what isn't legitimate. But there is the pine tree. There is pine bark, and one of my friends tried it before, and it may not be the best tasting thing, but you would think that pine bark would be tasting good. Whoa, what is this? That is actually a very little plant. I mean, that's a little bug right there. But when I saw it on the screen, hey Eugene, good to see you, buddy. When I saw it on the screen for a second, it looked like a gigantic, like, spider. I'm like, whoa, what is this right here? But it was a tiny little flying thing. All right, so Eugene, I found out that Blockbuster is owned by Dish Network, and their plan was to reboot it and bring it back in some different form. But what's it called? Netflix was having their own tapes, not their tapes, but their people send away for a DVD. That's what they were doing at that time. And I was thinking, like, okay, that's why Blockbuster, there's only one left. And they could hypothetically reopen all of them, but it's not likely they're going to do that. But there was one movie called Hollywood Video, and Hollywood Video doesn't exist anymore at all. It's completely wiped out. And that reason is because it had nobody bought it, and it just completely sunk. But yeah, Blockbuster has that one location seems to produce quite a bit of, traffic. The people in that region that watch it, and people that are tourists, and they have shirts and merch and stuff like that. So, because hypothetically they could make a streaming service like online, like Netflix, but the hurdles that they would have to go through is they would be in a situation where they don't have original content, and a lot of Disney and different places have their own streaming services, so it would be difficult for them to reboot it. or they could make original content or get licensed to rent different movies, and that would be very costly. But there's speculation that millions of people might actually go along with it and buy it, and you might go and get the app or the service. And a lot of people are fed up with Netflix and don't like it, so it would be a hypothetical Blockbuster return would be interesting, but in its original form, it could work like with the stores because there's people that have nostalgia. You think people are turning back to physical media? Yeah, because I looked up also about if they went back to physical media. Also, and there is an argument that if they reopened physical stores like they used to have, or they had both a streaming service and they had the other thing too, they would be able to possibly bring everything back, and they could get millions of people there to different locations. So that is a possibility that a Blockbuster comeback might work, because people want to have social gatherings. People want to see, for nostalgic purposes and for purposes of wanting to be more sociable, it may actually work because there's so many places people that would like it back. Now, with Blockbuster, another thing about it is that they don't want to try it out, Dish Network. They don't really want to do it. But back in 2010, yeah, that was the height of Netflix. But Netflix is kind of, all the streaming services have kind of gone, Temu. Like, if there's something that someone wants to get, you can go and you want something on... Amen, Eugene. Facts. Sega, AOL, Blockbuster, bring it all back. Amen. And especially because that would be so cool to reboot it with our modern tech that we have, but with the same type of service. That would be so cool, to use. And it is really, there's a nostalgic part too as well, and the way the social media platforms, and a lot of times I feel they're focused on capitalizing on money and not really on making a good product, because they oftentimes will say, if you want to watch something that's only on Netflix, or something that's only on Disney, something that's only on Paramount. If you have all these different services, there's a point where people are getting so many different streaming services together that it's annoying, and you're spending like a fortune a month to get these different things to watch. I think it is really, rebook too. Yeah. Right. So I think it would be really a good idea for them to maybe bring that back. And Blockbuster's name is well known and it's famous, and it is very cool to have, that concept. It would cost a lot of money probably to start up, but then over time I think it would appreciate. But social media is another thing that is, although we all use social media and it's cool, there's downsides of social media too. And with the social media downsides, people oftentimes, MySpace, are getting, it's like they become like a corporation and they're just capitalizing all the time, rather than, and just having like dead algorithms. Like, they're just, and it's kind of like a mindless bot over like a social experience online. And the thing with the social experience is that the online, like MySpace, those different ones, it was really kind of like a little community of people. Then it got bigger, and Facebook in the beginning it seemed like it was pretty cool, but then over time it kind of waned sideways. So yeah, if they brought back those types of, kind of like how it used to be with the newer stuff, I think it would be a cool concept to try out. Yeah. there, people, even the Blockbuster that exists in Oregon, it has a different thing in it where it has VHS tapes. And the concept of VHS tapes are very nostalgic, but I remember VHS tapes were a little bit tedious because you have to rewind it, and before you have to go start some movie, or I remember that, and back in the day, and I think if you touched it, I remember sometimes the thing would break out and it would start, the tape would start vomiting and just going everywhere. I never knew he was talking about Vine. Okay, so Elon Musk was talking about Vine. I remember Vine because that was 2016. That was the thing in 2016. I remember when Vines was a thing, and they all went to YouTube, and YouTube had like a influx of those people on there. I remember there was Vine reactions, and yeah, that's interesting. He was talking about that. It would be interesting to have that again. I remember hearing some talk about Vine, but not like nothing really came of it. Yeah, and we are seeing pretty much everything going well, but the weather, I'm still talking about the other thing, but the weather where I am is it's a little warming up. It was pretty cold, but now it's warming up. But it's still kind of cold. Yeah, anyway, so I remember Instagram when it used to be different. It used to be where they would have like the old, oh, hey, Abby, welcome to the stream. Okay, and it used to have like a Polaroid camera. It's still a Polaroid camera, but it's a different type of it used to look like a real Polaroid camera, but now it's a different type of camera with different colors in it, like pink. That is fine, Abby. You can invite all the people the folks you want to the stream. I appreciate you spreading the word about the channel. I hear a banded puppy lurking somewhere in there. Hello there. Oh yeah, hello there. Welcome to the stream. Nice. Glad to have you on board. Hello, Andrew. All right, there we go. We're going to go. Let's see. There we go. There is your wrench. Hello, DK. Welcome to the stream. We are looking around for different... you're welcome, Andrew. And my cousin's name Andrew, by the way. It's a good name. Yeah, so we are looking around. We're talking about random things, and oh, thank you, Abby. Thank you. Yeah, we are looking around because a lot of times we have these different raccoons and critters that like to come around here and kind of play around, but definitely in that darkness, something looks like it's about to come out. There's rumors of a werewolf that might, exist somewhere in these regions, but never saw it in person, thankfully. All right. Damn, that's the first time I've ever been made a mod. Thank you, bro. Made my day. You're very welcome, Andrew. I like your profile picture. It's nice. And yeah. So it's a very peaceful evening or night, and there is, see, look how big these are. See, when these types of vine plants grow up this thing right here, it's almost the height of this tree, and this tree is kind of let's see. Abby says, I like feeding raccoons pretzels and peanut butter. They go crazy for it. Ah, okay, that's good to know. That's something that they like. Yeah, I'm sure that they eat the whole jar. And pretzels are good. Pretzels are good. I think they like apples too, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know as a fact, but I think it's something that they also like. Yeah, you see this tree kind of grew a weird way because there's vines all over it that are really, really heavy, and it caused it to grow a little bit differently. But that's just an interesting experiment. And these are just little vines that kind of climbed up the tree, and they are very tall. So other times the vines have nothing to grow on. They just kind of latch. They just kind of hang loose. Okay, and these are these tropical plants that they grow all over the country, really, in the north and the south. But it's very tropical looking to me, so that's tropical. There we go. Yeah. They love apples and berries. Yeah, people in the past used to use berries and things like that for paint. And their experiment I did in school was making paint out of berries and stuff. For real. They're nuts for cat food. Oh, they do love cat food. That's when I saw the Mexican raccoon, the Mexican banded puppy. Am I into nature a lot, or it's just a hobby? That is a very good question. It is a hobby, and I'm in nature a lot. So what that means is I'm in a place where it is very wilderness-like since I was growing up. And, even there was a very, very bad hurricane that happened over 20 years ago, and I went to another area that was even more woodsy than this, on a cliff. It was a trailer, it's called a camping ground trailer park, but not like the trailer park where it's like a bad trailer park. It was more like a camping ground. It was the proper name for it. So yeah, I just was always around. I live in a city, but I was around woodsy regions. And the state is kind of, themed around outdoor stuff. So yeah, just something I was always into. It's a hobby, and I was always around it. And there's lots of forest theme. It's like a forest and tropical theme mixed together. And you'll see palm trees that belong in the tropics. And there will be trees from Canada or up north in the same location. It's pretty interesting looking. Anyway, so let's see. Andrew says, that sounds interesting. Would love to learn more about nature anytime I can. It's not something I've ever got into, but always wanted to. So fascinating. Oh, thank you, Andrew. Yeah, you'll learn a lot about it here. And also my friends in the chat, too. And Eugene says, FEMA camp. I heard about that after Katrina. Oh, the FEMA camps are really messed up. I didn't have one of those. It was an Explorer. It was a nice trailer. It was, I don't know, people say it's kind of like an RV, but not an RV, right? So I stay in Scotland, so there's nature here is different. Oh, this is very different than Scotland. I have some ancestry from Scotland, by the way. And yeah, see, these types of plants are, and things are not, similar to Scotland. It's a very, I remember one of my streams, I was showing one of my friends that was in Scotland, the garden during the daytime, and she thought she was on drugs. Yeah. So this is a broccoli plant. When it's, before it turns into a piece of broccoli. So you see that little thing in the middle, that's where the broccoli usually would sit on. And I'm talking like it's sitting on a stool or something. That's kind of like a way to put it. And it's dark green like that. and it's pure green. Just the whole thing is dark green, kind of like a Scottish theme green. If at the grocery stores, they look more yellow looking, but they're usually not really that yellow, and they taste very good. Even people that don't like broccoli, it tastes very different on a plant. Andrew has truly been feeling and having nature hikes. I can go camping and sleep just on sleeping schedule. I want to go back to camping here in the mountains of Virginia. Oh, that sounds like a very good idea to do. For camping in Virginia. That sounds very cool. And horticulture, so I think that's where my interest has come from. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, and there is one of those puppies over there. I hear him. And very cool, Andrew. And Abby says, stargazing is amazing, and depending on where I am, I get northern lights. As I said, those northern lights are incredible. I mean, where I am, it does come all the way down here. I had a theory that the northern lights would come down here, and they do. But guess what? Where I am, it's very, 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 very faint. Because it did happen. It was very, like a purple sky. As I saw the crescent moon. Whoa. Something's in that tree. It's probably one of those rats. Let's see. And I've never seen northern lights. Oh yeah, I've technically I saw Timu northern lights. That's what I saw. Timu northern lights. But on the north shore of me, there was very nice northern lights. It was like green and like purple, and it was pretty cool looking. So it depends where you are exactly. And Virginia seems like a great place to do camping. The northern lights and southern comfort. Evil tree rats, watch out. Yeah, the evil tree rats. Yeah, it reminds me of like an Allan Poe poem or something where these evil rats looking in the tree with like sinister looks up in there. Yeah, it's because I'm hearing something, and that must be what it is. And so, Andrew, these plants right here, I thought it was another type of weed when I was growing up, but it's actually something else called a giant ragweed, and they grow like 14 or 15, like 19 feet tall. They're really, really, they're kind of like Jack and the Beanstalk, just like that. And they were used by people in the Americas, the indigenous Native American people. They used it for making bread or herbal reasons, and I guess for lumber too. That's what I would more use it for. But yeah, it's also, I use it for like a hedge. It's and just interesting plants. But they're just random weeds that grow around. But I found a use for them. Because I knew they had to be something, the way they look. Like it had to be something domesticated at one time. There's something in the States that there's corn that people like to eat. I like to eat. When some cultures, corn is just like farm animal food. But there's the corn was a blade of grass, a little blade of grass originally. But they got domesticated, and they eventually got bigger and bigger. And yeah, so that's what a corn is. It's a blade of it's a type of grass. Fun fact. Interesting how the plants can evolve over time through selective breeding. And Abby says, do you guys like lizards and salamanders? Yes. My mom hates them, but I think they're pretty cool. But it depends on, sometimes they could be, under what the circumstances are. They're interesting to study about. Yeah. And you like reptiles in general. Yeah, they are pretty cool. And let's see, Eugene says, do you get those little lizards in NOLA? Yeah, we get the little lizards here. We get pretty much everything here. There is a gecko here that's like on the walls at night, and it looks like a desert thing, and it has like white skin. And it was from Asia, Southeast Asia, and it got here. Probably Vietnam, somewhere like that it came from. One time I saw a red-eyed tree frog, and I don't see them anymore, but very, very, very rarely, but there were red-eyed tree frogs here too. All right. There's a volcanic landscape in the Highlands in Scotland. I really want to go see it one day. I had no idea there's volcanoes over there. Usually we have them on the islands, or in Hawaii specifically is something that they're known for. So yeah, I think that is cool. I didn't know that, and I'm sure there was lore about dragons in them, because I know there's dragons in caves. There's rumors about, not rumor, in the old legends about dragons and the caves, like the Nordic, and I would assume Scotland too, about where they would exist. I like King Arthur and those, although King Arthur's Welsh, but I like those type of stories. I think they're pretty cool, the old legends. And my friend has a leopard gecko. That's probably what it's called, and it's adorable. And they can get big as fuck too. Yep. Oh yeah, some of them can get really big. Yeah, that would be cool to see a volcano. Like, I'm just like, there's like Scotland, and there's like a volcano. Wow. Okay, and let's look. Let's show our friends a palm tree. All right. So that is a palm tree right there. See, that is a palm tree, and it snows here on a rare occasion, and it'll look like the Highlands, I suppose, or Andrew, wherever you get lots and lots of snow you're familiar with, that's what it looks like here when it snows, and you have like a palm tree with snow on it. It's ancient landscapes that were caused by supervolcanoes and glaciers. Okay, thank you, Andrew. Probably from the Ice Age, I suppose. That's pretty cool. And yeah, and look, that's a regular tree. It's kind of glowing at night for some reason, but yeah, that's a tree, and there's like a palm tree. So all these different types of trees exist in one place. So, that should be on an island somewhere, and but that's like a regular forest. So it's kind of like a mixture of different plants in the terrain. And yeah, that's how dark it is without the light on. And here we are, that's the light on. And you can see everything, we're clear. And let's see, Churchill, Manitoba has many polar bears. I've seen them just walking around the streets. You've seen polar bears walk around the streets? Whoa. Okay, so polar bears walking around the street. I've heard that polar bears are actually like either black or brown, and the snow reflection makes their fur look white. I don't know if that's true or not, but I had doubts about that, but I don't really know anything for certain. And Andrew says, the one thing on my bucket list is to do the North Coast 500. It's basically a car route round the most scenic and best nature spots in the Highlands and top of Scotland. That sounds very cool. I like knowing about that location, because it would be a cool place to visit. I'd never heard of it before. All the times I've heard about Scotland, I never heard of that. They are so scary, and they are massive and are known for actively hunting people, but they are so cute. They hunt people. Well, they want the Coca-Cola. That's what they want. They could just smell it. They know they saw humans have Coca-Cola. They tried it one time, and they were like, all right, it's something that to hunt humans down for. This is a root of a plant, of one of those ragweeds, and it could be a pretty cool staff. Right here, see? And all the way here, nice and round. You see, you could get, like, if you had tomatoes, the tomatoes can grow on this thing. It is big tourist place in the Highlands. People come from all around the world just to drive through that route. That is awesome that route is there. Do they have restaurants and places like that around there? I'm not familiar. I know nothing about it, so I don't really know enough about it. But yeah, it sounds like a pretty cool place. Okay, Eugene's has black bears in Virginia. Okay. Where I am, there's a bear in my state too. It's a black bear, I think. You see, look at this. This is like kind of like a spear. You can kind of like, this looks just like a spear. You could put like a metal thing on it and just kind of go, oh, a fish, and go, ha ha, I got a fish right here. Or you could just kind of like throw it like that, and then you see it's like in the ground. Yeah, thought the whole route there's towns and other tourist places, stop off and enjoy nature more. Ah, okay, thanks. Understood. Okay, and we're just kind of making our way. I've not walked here in a long time. Well, I was here one of the other streams because I remember this thing, but we're getting deeper within. Right there. And what's the best food in Scotland? Yeah, Andrew, what's the best food in Scotland? We're curious. Yeah, and okay, and we have this right here, which is a stargazing right there. You have a cool star, and it is twinkling. Maybe it's a UFO, but it's likely a star, and going through the trees. Okay, and I personally enjoy haggis, but a lot of people are put off because what it is, but it's traditional Scottish meal. Oh, interesting. Okay. I don't know a lot about it, and it sounds like it's pretty cool. I want jambalaya and gumbo from Louisiana. Oh, yeah, thank you, Abby. That is something very delicious that you will like. And so, Virginia is famous for ham and peanuts. Yeah, those are a nice snack to have. Those are nice snacks to have. And Bro said something about Loch Ness. What about the Loch Ness Monster in Scotland? I remember one time our friend Sarah and I were looking at Loch Ness. Her and I had a little debate about Loch Ness. And there was a thing that was in the water at Loch Ness. So it's thought that there is some sort of creature there. Maybe it's underwater or it's very deep in one of the caves, but there's not been confirmed proof. But I do believe that there might be something there, as I believe in conspiracy theories. Haggis is basically sheep's intestines and blood. Okay. So, Andrew, the gumbo and jambalaya. So, gumbo is this type of... Okay, so I'm going to tell you my gumbo story. So, there was Thanksgiving is something they do in the States, which I'm sure you know about. And they, it's when the natives and the pilgrims had a feast. And they're celebrating unity. So there is people to this day will carry out that tradition by having turkey and mashed potatoes and peas and corn and whatever else. But what they do now is my neighbors would have gumbo, and my family makes like European food a lot, like Italian and different stuff like that. But the neighbors would make gumbo, and it was something native to the state. So what would I do if drafted? Well, I don't know if I would be drafted, but it's hypothetical. So if I got drafted, I would not really be the most with the conflicts over there in the probably Middle East, I suppose. Well, I would do what I can to not to be alive, I suppose, and get back here in one piece if I was. I don't know, I might go there or hang out with some polar bears. I guess I could stream from the battlefield. Scared. If that's what he's referring to, if Robert is referring to that, it could be like, Abby could see the alien in the war zone, I suppose. That's how it goes. And come back in one piece. All right, Robert. All right. And so, welcome to the stream. And so, yeah, I'm hearing something, and that must be one of those puppies. Okay, anyway, so the gumbo is this, it's a seafood dish. It's like a soup, a broth. And there is this crabs, like seafood, like crabs and shrimp, and it has meat. Yes, I'm more likely to get drafted by them than the other conflict. Yeah. So I'm like, well, what am I being drafted in for? I'm assuming the war is going on. But yeah, the Saints. Yeah, that's a good one, Eugene. Thanks. So yeah, it has rice in it. And it has lots of seasonings, because the city, they'll put a lot of seasonings in things, in the state. And it makes things like very magical. And there's something called okra that came from Africa during the time when the slavery, they had okra, and they put it in food, and people that were having, slaves themselves and people that had them ate this certain food, and then it spread all over the place. So that is what happened with that. And yeah, so it's basically seafood and meat and rice. The jambalaya is more or less like a soup, and it's more like rice and meat and lots of seasonings in it. So, and it's from, different origins of Africa and Scotland too. Like the fried food we have in the south is from Scotland and Africa. Since I didn't know that had to do with Scotland. Andrew said, I've seen videos of gumbo. I don't think it's something I would personally try. However, I can see how it can be appealing to others. Oh, it does look strange. It can look strange to some. Okay? But it tastes very good, though. My opinion. Yeah. But I could see where some groups it may not look appealing. But definitely, it is like kind of like a magic stew. Sort of like a witch's brew of some kind, or some a mythological type of soup. Definitely. And it does taste very good. Yeah, y'all fry everything. I didn't know that. But yeah, the frying tradition came from Scotland, from the settlers here, because there's people that came right here where I am, and from the Scotland, and also technically the East Coast. Oh, that's pretty good. Campbell's gumbo is good. And that was something pretty cool to, to see, where you have, canned gumbo is something crazy. My neighbors never heard of something like that before, but they saw at the grocery store, and it's really a thing. Yeah. And yeah, frying things, yeah, that's something fun fact that I knew. It was from the Scottish settlers, and also Africa has influenced the way we do it here. And there's lots of spices that are put in the food, too. That was something else that came here. So yeah, our food is kind of a melting pot of different things. Yeah, if someone gave bro Andrew a gumbo, he would think is hocus pocus. Yeah, definitely. Now, anytime I'm going to eat gumbo, I'm going to think of that too, because I put that image in my head too. It's like I put an image in everyone's head, and I put it in my own head too. And my reality distortion field. So, yeah. Oh, you know what? There's some metal thing that you do this to like tell people that the food's ready, and that's basically what this triangle's reminding me of. But it's not even like a triangle. It's a triangle, but it's a plant that fell over from a long time ago. Yeah. I love soup, and with how many spices are in there, I know it's amazing. Thank you, Abby. Doesn't it come from a Spanish dish? It's probably influenced by Spanish dishes, but it's more mainly gumbo's from the French, a French dish with African and Native American, maybe some other parts of Europe too, but that's what it basically is. It's based off of a French dish because the city was okay. The city is Spanish and French, and America acquired it in the 1800s from Napoleon. Have you ever tried British food? If so, what have you tried? Oh, by the way, my father's side is from Britain, and I've had the food before in America. I wasn't over in Britain, but I was over here. Oh yeah, I like fish and chips. I like, you know, it's like, I believe the food's like chicken and turkey and mashed potatoes, and there's a certain type of pie that they have there. And although Ireland isn't technically, like, part of Ireland's in the United Kingdom, but part of it isn't. I've had Irish food, like cabbage and stuff like that. So yeah, I've had some of the British food before, and I think that it tastes very good. And it's different than the food we have here, where there's not as the spices in it or the seasonings that we have down here, but it's still pretty cool. It's still very good. Yeah, I had the Scotch pie. Yeah, yeah, I've had that too. Yeah, but my mom would make me the British food sometimes because I wanted it. All of my family in England likes to, they like British food and Italian food and stuff. Both sides of my family have that also. But yeah, I've had British food before. And I need some bangers and mash. Okay. It's a home comfort meal. I don't know. I don't know if I had that before, chat. I don't really know for absolute certainty. But I wanted to know a description of what is bangers and mash, because I don't really know for certain if I've had that before. I know Ireland has a thing with potatoes, like a complicated relationship with potatoes. I like potatoes. I need to grow some sometime. But getting deeper inland, well, a bit of a pickle. But anyway, so it's just sausages and mashed potatoes. Oh, I've had that all the time. I have that often. I eat that quite a bit. It's very good. Yeah. Yeah, a bottle of water. Yeah. Yeah, isn't it something like a bottle of water? Because they talk with they have like the ER is like an A. Bottle of water. Yeah. Like Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Yeah. So, if you like that, then you would like a toad in the hole as well. A toad in the hole, well, that sounds very interesting. I I'm optimistic about that. I like trying new things. I don't know what it's about. I'm sure there's a toad involved. And by the way, mentioning toads, of water. Water. Okay, interesting. Yes. And we have, yeah, thank you, Andrew. there's a frog that we look for, and it's a frog from my stream, and he's known to have a thong, and he's like a kind of a large muscular frog that might come jump out on us at some point. But we will see him, maybe, maybe not. We're keeping an eye out for him, especially. Virginia and North Carolina, it's about barbecue. Barbecue is very good. You know, I would say around 4th of July. And 4th of July, we do I mean, not, my family hasn't done it in a while, but people do barbecuing around there and different holidays and birthdays and stuff. But a barbecue sauce is very good. I'll say, you know, barbecue sauce is nice. Toad in the hole is just sausage and mashed potatoes inside a big Yorkshire pudding with onion caramelized gravy. That sounds delicious. Oh, down here they love gravy and mashed potatoes. I love the names y'all have. That's very creative. You know, like the Germans would call it, I don't know, sausage inside pie. But y'all's names are so cool. Abby says, now I'm getting hungry and I just smoked and we're talking about food. Yes, Roger, the minions are awakening. Yep. Yeah, we're just gonna see the minions just come out of nowhere in their little minion glasses. I was watching in the Parkland trial, the woman who was doing the typing, well, she had like big glasses, and we're like, yeah, that had to be like one of the minion glasses. So there you go. Yeah, so we're making Abby hungry. We're gonna have to go and get one of these garden gnome houses over here to go make her some gumbo and teleport it over there. All right. Have you ever tried Colin's skink? It's smoked. Yeah, it's a landing spot for my UFO. I'm just kind of, my UFO's floating in the sky right now, but I'm just kind of looking. Well, it's actually behind me. It's not floating, it's behind me. And I'm looking at the landing pad for the new UFO that's going to land here. So that's what I'm doing. And bro said, have you ever tried a Colin's skink? It's a smoked haddock soup. I don't know if I've had that before. It does need clearing, Rob. You're absolutely correct. Because I'm gonna have to get the little gnomes to come out here and clear this and get that fixed. But yeah, it will certainly be the landing. There's all kinds of garden. What on earth is this? Must be some sort of fungus, chat. Wow, this looks like it's all like red and like yellow looking. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, the Afro-Man trial is crazy. We were watching that earlier, and the part of it I didn't play because, okay, at night I was playing it in different parts, but I didn't play the whole thing, so I played the rest of it today that we missed. And yeah, it was a wild trial, definitely. I thought it was cool. And chat gave good commentary about it. And we had a civilized discussion. Then we got into conspiracy theories. Oh, Andrew, thank you. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. And y'all are the greatest chat room on the internet. Yes, the Blake Lively trial, yes. I remember when we were playing Jodi Arias. That was pretty crazy, Eugene, too. So, Eugene, are we playing the Parkland trial? And they had some fiery testimony. It was a shooter, the Parkland shooter who shot up the school. And that one is pretty wild. Now, one trial, the Johnny Depp trial, is the most famous one that's how I got into trials, and that's one I played all the time on the channel. And how do you feel about the Mandolin McCann case? I have actually. Oh, thank you, Abby. Please do. I appreciate it. You know, I have. I don't know anything about that case. I need to do my homework. I'm living under a rock, on a space rock. The Annalyn McCann case. I'm sure there's people. My friends have opinions about it. I'm sure, but it's one I have to go look into. It really is a great time here. I'm happy I found this channel. Yes. You met him in person? Whoa. There's a woman on my channel, Anna, which Abby has met. And yeah, get us to 2K subs. Facts. Absolutely. And the depth of that is awesome. You met him. I heard he's very nice. So Anna went to school with him in Florida. So that is so cool. You got to meet him, take a picture with him. It's about the little girl who kidnapped in Portugal so many years ago, and when her mom and dad was out for dinner, and a lot of people think her parents set it up. Oh, okay. I think that a lot of times the parents do set those things up. And because there's a theory I saw where a lot of these kidnappings come from people who were like family members or people that they knew. So that may be a possibility. I saw a case like that too, another case like that. I may have heard of that one specifically, but yeah, definitely may have been the parents, and I'll probably do a video about it. But yeah, definitely something to suspicious about the parents. Yeah. Yeah, 4 years ago in Scotland. Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, Depp is a very kind man. I believe absolutely he was innocent of. He's not perfect. No one's perfect, and he's not perfect, but certainly was innocent of the crimes that he was committing. Not the crime, the defamation. He was, innocent of what she was accusing him of. Oh, you met famous hockey players, and that's all. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, Moki likes hockey players. She loves hockey. Yeah. And she's been missing since May 2007. Yeah, Jared, thanks for that. I definitely do think that they're looking for that Sumerian. Yeah, you see, there's a theory that the war in Iraq had to do with them getting Gilgamesh's tomb, which has to do with the Antichrist or some sort of supernatural thing. And there is a Sumerian portal that we were talking about in the show that has to do with the extraterrestrials and portal. So yeah, there's a possibility there that Jared is saying they're looking for the Sumerian portal. So I guess that's what they're doing over there too. Yeah. Interesting. And she was only 3 when it happened. 2007 still has been found, and some people think she's alive, and some people think she's dead. Ah, okay, she might still be alive somewhere. Oh, yeah, interesting. A lot of times, in like textbook wise, they're not alive anymore. But there are some situations when they can be alive and live some other type of double life somehow, or were, trafficked somewhere. So yeah, that's a possibility too. You met Richard Simmons? That's very cool, dude. Okay, so there's the thing about McCaslland and Virginia Guthrie, and you're gonna hear some conspiracy theories from me because I'm into all kinds of crazy conspiracy theories. But so there's her mother, Virginia, Guthrie husband was allegedly connected with Epstein, with a company that was associated with him. So not that they did anything wrong, but it's possible she might have known something. They want to silence her. And there's General McCasland, who knew a lot about UFOs and may have had done something with the Roswell wreckage. And he was also missing in the same region of the United States. So there's an alien, there's something called alien.gov. And that is a domain, though, the government released. It has to do with what the German government released. And no, not the German government. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. Germany is part of it, but not the whole thing. Is things that the government released is the alien information. So when all these Epstein files and these alien files are coming out, some of these people are disappearing. So people are wondering if that's linked somehow. Or was it cartels? Or was it someone that wanted attention from Savannah and they did that? That is up for interpretation. But yeah, I think it's very suspicious. And indeed. And I think that the Epstein files released is important and the alien release is important. Both are important. And Andrew says, it was believed that a German P-file was the one who snatched her at the time, but they didn't have enough evidence to keep him in jail, and he served sentence for grape. Okay, thank you for the info. Yeah, see, that's the thing, is that somebody could be guilty of a crime, but with the art of speech and a certain way of wording things, you can pretty much get somebody that is guilty of something that you could make it look a certain way where they're not guilty, or it might be someone that really didn't do anything and they're falsely accused. That's another thing that's a possibility. So yeah, that certainly adds to the mystery, and that's always a good mystery when you're not really entirely sure what is what, you know. And hello, Saw Girl. And Eugene says Iraq was supposed to have a Stargate. Yeah, there's a Stargate in Gilgamesh's sarcophagus there, too. Sawgirl says General colleague went missing a month earlier here in California. I think her last name was Reza. Oh, Moki told me about that, Sawgirl, and I forgot to mention that. So thank you, co-pilot Sawgirl, for the info. And yeah, she also went missing, and I remember seeing the missing poster. And that's another weird thing. In the same region of the United States, in the western part of the United States, and somebody that may know something going missing at the same time all these files are being released. And yeah, so that I think is all linked together, and it's very shady that they're trying to hide or conceal people that might be talking about something. I don't know, right? But I do think there's a connection there. You should, Defo, look into the interesting supposedly confessed to his cellmate. That's why people believe it was him. Oh, he confessed to his cellmate. Now, there's possibilities that people might confess, or they say people confess to avoid something else. And I'm pondering here. And if somebody's under pressure to confess about something and they didn't do it, maybe sometimes they'll crack. Like there's something called the Delphi murders of the two little girls. And they were really, the guy that did it, he was convicted of it. There's theories that he was kind of pressured into saying that he did it, but he may have not have done it. But so far he's the one that did it. But I will say, so that's a hypothetical, but let's also just ponder here what you're saying. What you're also saying, just taking it bluntly, is that, okay, he confessed to his cellmate that he did it while he's on trial or while he's in jail for no reason. And he confessed to it, and then there you go. It was more likely him. That is just like the mainstream narrative about it, just for everybody to know that I'm coming up with a theory, but technically the dude said he did it, so there you go. He most likely did it. And yes, there was an Odin ritual done to those girls. So the Odin. So there is and I did a video about it when it was going on, but there is an Odinist uh, cult that did they took some sticks from the demonic rats over here, over here that probably went over there, and because you have these, demonic rats in the trees, who have all the sticks, and they took some of those and they made, like, in the ground some Nordic runes, like Nordic letters. They're not letters, but that's kind of like to give you like what it's called, and it was done ritualistically, similar to how the Odinists would do it. So the reason why they connected to Odinism is because of the way it is done, the way it was done, and the way in the mythology about the type of symbols. Now, I have some mild Nordic ancestry, so I took interest in studying about Nordic stuff and the Viking stuff. So they would sacrifice people to their gods, but the current Nordic people don't seem to be into sacrificing people. They're just more into earthy stuff and nature. And I would say, in my opinion, it's more of a satanic cult, or like these P-files in Hollywood and different places that are involved with Epstein type stuff that say they want to drink the blood for adrenochrome. I'm going off the rails here with my conspiracy theories, but that's basically what it is. So it has to do with a more of a evil, like ritualistic type thing. Maybe they were used by one of those Epstein type groups and dumped, and they blame someone else for it. I don't know. But yeah, to wrap it up with a bow on top, yes, an Odinistic or paganistic type runes were put there, and that what was done to them. So it was like maybe done by some Odinist cult. Although they're technically they don't really, people that are in Odinism and don't do that now, they're just known in their history, they did sacrifice people in the past. The Vikings, they sold kids into slavery and all kinds of stuff. They did all kinds of crazy things. But everybody in the old world did all kinds of evil things. We consider evil now. Everybody did evil stuff. But definitely things don't need to be doing in the 21st century. But most people that are into like Odinistic stuff are not into that anymore. Oh, okay. Thank you. Happy. Yeah, and Andrew says, you should look into the murder of James Bulger as well. 2 10-year-old boys abducted, tortured, and murdered a 2-year-old boy in England. You should look at and let me know your opinion. I will let you know my opinion about that and look into those cases. Thank you, Andrew. I think that it's something very important to talk about. Yeah, absolutely. So I will look into it, because, yeah, it's just a lot of time. There's a missing girl. I forgot her name, but yeah, there's that famous actress from like 95. That was a little girl, and she went missing. And people think maybe Epstein had something to do with it, but it's so far a mystery. Yeah, there's all kinds of missing cases, and 30 years later, they don't know what happened. I have never heard some of these stories. I'm interested now. Yeah. Okay, and Andrew, this is look at that. That's a little snail chilling right there. Yeah, and this is a elephant ear plant, we call it, and it's from the Pacific Islands, like tropical islands in the Pacific, and they brought them here. All right, and yeah, so they have these. Okay, and Andrew says there are documentaries on both the cases I've told you about, and contains a lot of good information about the details. And that may be something to react to on the show. Yeah. Yeah, and hey, little snail, it's the king queen of the garden. Yes, it's the king queen of the garden. That's true. Jean Bennett Ramsey. It's probably spelled wrong. Oh, okay, okay. Thank you, Eugene. And Gene said Nordic black metal. Oh, I know about Nordic black metal. We're gonna go down a rabbit hole about that. So there's something called the Nordic black metal, and I was always have been a Christian, and I did at one time listen to some of that stuff, but I don't really. I like some songs that are about Vikings, but anything that's like I feel was too evil, I don't look at it. But because I wanted to always stay away from evil things. But yeah, so there is this type of, and it kind of like how the Dark Woods, like, oh, this looks so different back in 2016 and 2015. There wasn't all these different trees here. It was just that thing. And I used to just kind of go in this yard at night. It was more, this was totally like a empty space. It was just grass. It is 3:15 a.m. where I am right now. Central Time, U.S. Central Time. So Nordic black metal is these bands that will play dark, kind of scary, kind of sometimes violent ambient music. And there is actually some pretty messed up ones that were criminal. Like there's one, some of them were criminals, and there's one dude named Varg, and he burned down a bunch of churches in Norway, and one of them was ones Vikings built because he wanted the Nordic like pagan ancestry. Well, he was convicted. He's convicted of it. Let's just say that he's convicted of it because he has his own way of saying it. But anyway, he was the one that burned down all those churches, and because of he had like a nationalism in the Nordic like ancestry, but he's half French, I saw, so maybe he was conflicted about it. But anyway, and he was locked up for a long time. And then there's this other rival group that were beefing with him, and one of them got shot in the head. And then this other band made like an album cover of the dude's blown off head, and it's kind of, these people are just kind of crazy. And I think it was Burzum, and one of them had like this is all going to be kind of graphic, so just viewer discretion advised, but yeah, those damn Vikings, yeah. And there was one time this dude, there was like a dead crow in a bag, and he wanted the death in his nostrils, and he would smell it before he would do a concert, I read. So yeah, there's a bunch of kind of crazy people, and the ones in those bands. And it sounds like entering the pit of hell, and it's like it gives off something weird. But there is the other. Oh, that's good that you're getting sleepy and lay down with the puppy. Well, that is good. Yeah, so that was about Nordic Viking metal is about, but there is Nordic Viking metal that is not bad. I only drank 6 ice House of 4 the concert once. Oh, you went to a concert? Oh, you went to one of those concerts? Oh, that is wild, Eugene. That is wild. And that had to be something, that had to be epic. So there is actually some Nordic ones that were pretty cool. There's Nordland is an album that is not violent or creepy, and it's about Nordic mythology. And about the different Viking ships and the different stuff like that is out there. I believe giant more than aliens. So you believe in the Nephilims more than you believe in the aliens, but I believe they're both intermixed. I believe the aliens may have been the ones that, put those things there. But anyway, you sang in your band and you were nervous. Okay. So yeah, that's what they did. Uh, the one of them in very peaceful, like guitars and different type of vibes to them when they would. Uh, so some of it is peaceful and just about Viking mythology, and other stuff is about creepy, dark stuff. So yeah, I personally would like to stay away from like the creepy stuff, but I researched about what those bands were about. Yeah. So that is a little lesson about the Nordic uh, bands. Some of them have songs that are not bad, just about Nordic mythology that are cool. Others are just weird stuff to stay away from. Yeah, some wild stuff. All right. And have you ever heard about the octopus tentacles in the Russian sky in the 50s? I have not heard about the. Oh, it's Eugene says 420. Yeah. And Leatherface says, "Have you ever heard about the octopus tentacles in the Russian sky in the 50s?" I have. Yeah, wait a minute. Leatherface, I know you just asked me that, and for a moment I glitched out. So I've not. I don't think I've heard about that one. I don't think I've heard about that one. But that's something that I'll look into. I do think that there's a theory, Leatherface, that some of the UFOs are biological creatures. So maybe that's what that was, or some sort of a cryptid or fallen angel thing. By the way, the Leatherface movie, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is a very interesting horror movie, definitely. And it was based off of Ed Gein, who would probably be in some dark, woodlands, and he was a grave robber, and he did things to victims, making things out of skin. So yeah, that was a really like trippy horror movie. You like the Sawyer family. Right, and the definitely like Billy Loomis. Yeah. Yeah, they do eat. They have some food in there that most people wouldn't want to eat. Yeah, scared. Yeah, there's the hitchhiker. Yeah, I don't know about him. Is you chilling on the road and there's a hitchhiker, but he has some stuff up his sleeve. Yeah. Andrew said another interesting case to look into is Lucy Levitt case, and she was a nurse in UK who convinced a murder attempt and murder babies. Oh, okay. Definitely will look into that one. I'm going to have the best sleep after this. Yeah, exactly. You're going to sleep nice and sound. Okay, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre is amazing, but it has to be the first one. Oh, the first one was really good, yeah. And let's see, Leatherface is the only human in the K series who is not spirit or ghost. Yeah, because Leatherface, he is. It's thought that he was troubled, or he was challenged, and he had a issue with. There's theories that he was like changing genders or personalities. The masks were different personalities that he had, and he was like used to do the dirty work, so to speak. That's what he was used for. And I thought that was a rat, but it's not. Okay, good. And the other ones were more behind him, right? The one dude who was the guy that owned the shop, or I don't know what it was, the gas station, he was the most dangerous one because he came off as normal, but he wasn't. Oh, okay, Eugene. Good night to you, buddy. Thank you for coming. But yeah, I learned about I learned about there was a second movie that came out about them, and I didn't know there was like a whole franchise over it. I just thought it was a one movie, but there was a bunch of remakes. Andrew said, yeah, and Andrew says, my dog medicine has worn off now and has squealing so much pain, but I can't do anything because the vets don't open for another 35 minutes. Well, hopefully your dog can, get the help it needs as soon as possible. It sucks when, like, the vets aren't open. Yeah, and Leatherface says, did aliens have contact with ancient people? I believe aliens had contact with ancient people, and I think that the aliens are connected with fallen entities too. And like those gods and those old religions, I believe those are the aliens, and I think they're interdimensional. And they're not from like the true God. I believe there's a theory that the true God created those things as watchers, but they fell from grace and they became wicked. And I do believe there are aliens from other planets that have high advanced technology that come here too. So I think a combination of those things are true. Now, there are theories that they're time travelers, that they were in space and their skin got gray, their eyes got big and bulgy, and that they're time travelers. So yeah, those are different theories about them. People could believe what they want, but I do think that they did visit people in the ancient past and they thought that they were gods. Right. Yes, definitely the aliens were the ones. Yeah, identify. Yeah, because they're like a cryptid. Because it's possible they're the aliens that are out in space could be things native to Earth. That's a theory, and they didn't really want to come out of. There might be something that's unidentified. Like, one time gorillas were thought to be mythological, but they eventually came out as true. And science can't prove everything. Yeah, shout out to Andrew. That really is, when your pet is going through something horrible, it really is messed up. I feel very bad, for the puppies. Yeah, and because science can't prove everything. Yeah, and when science, sometimes there's not always a logical explanation or a scientific explanation because there's certain logic that we haven't discovered yet. And there's things that are just supernatural. And I do think that some of those aliens are things that haven't been proven just yet. So yeah, that's a theory. And there's theories that the UFOs are some sort of entity that lives in the atmosphere that we haven't really proven yet. Right. And Abby says, make sure to comfort him and make him feel loved, and that's all you can do. Yeah, amen. Definitely, Abby. And make sure the pup is as comfortable as possible. I think his hip has slipped out again, so we probably have to get surgery today and get it pinned place instead. Yeah, positive vibes, prayers that everything goes well. Very good to take care of your dog, and I hope it's as quick as possible and painless. It's very heartbreaking when the pets go through things. You see, pets are so nice, and people can be not always good, but pets are so sweet. Yeah. This is a Japanese pot right there. Right, and oh yes, I'm glad to hear that he appreciates the love, indeed. Yeah, but that is the thing, is that I do think that with people that are under the forces of darkness, or wicked people, are influenced by those things, and they're not. And God, my view, People could believe what they want. I believe there's something there. And God is a source of light and goodness for all people, and positive vibes of the universe or karma, or whatever people want to believe. Something good or something positive is the main thing that is being fought. There's things that are trying to fight against that. But in the long term, I believe that will overcome all those forces of darkness, because all the darkness in the world can't extinguish a single candle. And that's why the unity of people united is a good thing. And focusing on having that there is what I think in the long term will save humanity from its destruction. In Kentucky alone, the family was even called crazy. Interesting. Yes. And Kentucky is I think it's a cool state. I have friends from there. I think that, the mountains are nice. I remember walking around and running around the mountains, and not the mountains, but the hills. It was nice. Yeah. So you have that. Oh, I believe reincarnation is a thing. Definitely. There's all kinds of different ways to the top of the mountain, and I believe it has happened before. And when you have, for instance, and I like things from all kinds of different faiths, and is everyone who sees aliens or something like that is considered crazy. Why? The reason why they're considered crazy is because I think the mainstream media and the scientific communities were trying to downplay and make people look stupid that were talking about aliens, because they didn't want it being exposed to the public, because they thought there'd be a public backlash over it. So they went and had riots, and they want to conceal the technology and information that people have. So that is why they call people stupid and try to shame them, because they didn't want the truth coming out. But eventually the truth comes out, and they can't really stop the truth anymore when it's completely out there. So that is the situation at hand, is why they call people stupid. And there's people that are skeptical, that don't really want to see logical reasoning about the aliens, because they think it's fantasy. So there's all those different reasons why. Just people, I want to believe in something. It could be true, and like Skinny Bob, I think is true. So definitely. And yeah, I am literally an alien, and people don't believe that I exist, but I am right here. So, Skinny Bob's my cousin. So yeah, exactly. So that's why I think Earthlings do that. That's why I think it was because of the conditioning from media and people just being Timu and skeptical. And so with reincarnation, different cultures have believed in that, and I think there is narratives of that happening, even in the Christianity and Abrahamic religions. But yeah, I think that God can work in different ways, and I think animals and stuff can reincarnate too. I think they can reincarnate, and animals reincarnate. I think humans can do it too. If the Lord wills it, it can happen. Yeah, and I like meditations, like they do in those Eastern religions. I think those are good. I think all the different religions have truth in them, and different beliefs, and positive vibes also, and proof that they exist. Yeah, I am living proof that the aliens exist. Yeah, in my spaceship, I was looking at the landing area for the spaceship, and that is where it's at. Yeah. Well, that is messed up. They made fun of you for that, Abby. You have a right to believe in what you want to believe. And I do think, it's good you believe in a spirituality. And I think it's important, and you're a very sweet, kind person. So that is good to have. So yeah, the reincarnation definitely, to me, seems like definitely a thing. And Leatherface says, because of that, people don't want to research fun things like myths, cryptids, etc., because they always consider something or missing people. You know, there is a good point about that where I do think the aliens are linked to things that are having to do with the occultic elites, stuff like that. So I do think that they are linked, but yeah, with cryptids, I do think those are real. It's just animals or creatures we're not completely familiar with yet. And alien abductions or alien sightings, a lot of times they return people, but other times they don't. I suppose I don't know the statistics, but yeah, and I do think there are people that go missing in general. So there are those things that are in consideration where people will think that the aliens is an excuse for something or a cryptid is an excuse for something. I'm not denying that people will make up things that aren't real. They're like, I don't know, the Tooth Fairy did something that it didn't really happen. But I do think there are cryptids and are aliens out there, doing things. And Abby says, I also believe in reincarnation. So yeah, I read that. Yeah, so that is what I think. And I do believe we have chakras on our spine, the different colors that people give off, the 7 chakras. So I do believe that all that is true and real. And there's many ways to the top of the mountain, so to speak. Right. I've seen a UFO before. I saw an orb, a blue orb sphere, and it was pretty freaky, but I took a video of it. Leatherface says, what weapon produced radiation like an atomic bomb thousands of years ago? Scientists don't dare to discuss it. Exactly. There's biblical narratives of, there's Sodom and Gomorrah, and they believe there's a nuclear weapon dropped on there, and there's different wars in ancient civilizations that have people who were residue of some sort of nuclear weapons being used, but they don't talk about those things. There's also theories that Mars may have fallen to a nuclear war too, but there are just forbidden things they will never talk or tell people about. Right. And you're a great person to talk to, as you're so understanding, and don't judge at all. I feel comfortable here. Well, Abby, I'm glad that you do feel comfortable here, and I want you to, and I'm glad that you do, and I appreciate you bringing people to the channel. It's I'm really glad that I met you in this location right here, exactly right here. We're talking about opium, and well, technically I met you over in this other area where we're talking about the garden. And you're like, I was in my neighbor's yard. I'm like, no, this is my yard. So that's where I first met you. Then we had the conversation about the opium, poppies. Yeah. And TBH, I'm kind of weird and nerdy and feels odd to share my thoughts and interests sometimes. Oh, you are in the right place for that. Everybody can vent and be themselves and talk about those things. Yeah. Yeah, and Leatherface, there's theories that we were talking about. Yeah, I was over here, and she said I'm in my neighbor's garden again. And okay, thank you, Leon. Midyne and Sinai are Islamic, the Islamic version. Okay, yeah. And I think, there's Islamic teachings about in their Quran about the people of Ad and Thamud, and those reminds me of things today of the civilizations getting big and powerful and falling because they go away from God. And even people that don't believe in God, there's a parable about it. It's kind of like similar to Sodom and Gomorrah. Similar. So it's like people get really big and advanced and they get proud in themselves and they lead to their own destruction. Even without God being there, it happens. They are their own worst enemy. That's why humbleness is, and I also believe believing in God, in my opinion, or some higher power is important. But yeah, people believing in themselves and their accomplishments leads to their destruction. So, right. I remember my first time here, it was amazing. Garden caught my eye. And sorry for saying you were in your neighbor's garden, uh, as I said, I'm random. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I've dealt with people all the time on here. And at first I'm like, I was testing you out and I'm like, yeah, I'm in my own garden. I'm nowhere else. And then you're cool, and I was able to show you the reality distortion field I have, and here you are. So yeah, I like to have a conversation and talk things out, and we get the people over here. Yeah. Look at the Mayan myth. Why their four worlds were destroyed because of their cruel behavior. Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. And a lot of these people would sacrifice people to these gods for the sun to come back up, and all kinds of crazy things. And there is a people in South America that believed in this mythology that one of their gods was flooding the earth to kill off the giants. That's similar to the Abrahamic religions that talk about the great flood that happened and wiped out. So other civilizations talk about that, because when they get wicked and evil, they fall into darkness, and that happens. So it's like karma, or reaping what you sow. All right, and Abby is wondering if Andrew is still here. And yeah, shout out to Andrew, and maybe he had to deal with something with his dog. And if not, we'll hopefully see him on the next one. I appreciated him. I'm glad I met him. And I'm glad he's here, on the channel. All right, so Leatherface says, do you believe in Atlantis? Yes, I do believe in Atlantis. I've talked about it on the show before. And with Atlantis, I think that it was a civilization that happened, was an ancient civilization that existed. And for various reasons, I don't know, there's probably different theories about it. It got flooded and it went under the sea, or it disappeared on its own, like they manually got rid of it and put it in a different location on it, and it's like a futuristic civilization, or it's out somewhere that we can't access in some other kind of dimension realm. So yeah, I do believe it's real, and the different philosophers and people that were drawing out maps back then were talking about that place, and it was depicted as real and back in the past. So there's other explanations for it, but yeah, I do believe that something like that was there a long time ago. Because if people are talking about a lost city, they're talking about something that they really did experience, that was there at one time, a long time ago. Yeah. And, many of these different conspiracy theories won't wind up being true in the long term. And that is what I certainly think is real. There's certain technologies that they had that were there a while back, and over time civilizations tore themselves up and the technology was lost. Yeah, and Abby says, also, I believe in skinwalkers. Oh yeah, that is cool. That is cool that they do that. And that didn't make any sense what I just said, chat. I caught myself saying nonsense. So yeah, chat. Skinwalkers, yeah, they're witches that are able to shapeshift into into a grotesque creature. And yeah, and I do believe the skinwalkers are real from Skinwalker Ranch in that part of the country. I have people that are over there, and yeah, people over there believe it too. And yeah, the ancient Native Americans, indigenous people, also believed in that too. They were able to do that stuff. And believe in that stuff because they are witches into some sort of witchcraft. So yeah, I believe that those things are real too. And Leatherface says Aztec and Incan said their gods came from the sea and brought technology. So question is, which sea it came from? And here we also have skinwalkers. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, you believe in skinwalkers too? Yeah. So yeah, you see, with those civilizations, I didn't really think of that their gods came from the sea. There was one time one of my people sent me an article about a fish god that came on land to an island people and taught them mathematics and sciences and stuff. And over time, there was things that came from the sea. So that could be an explanation for an Atlantis thing existing underwater. And there are UFOs that do come from underwater. They're called USOs. And they come from underwater too. So that's another theory that there's a civilizations or bases underwater. And maybe they also came from there too. Point. And that's why teamwork is important and having different people, work together on the same product. Yeah. And right here we have this strange looking plant with its flower, and it might make itself into a, it's kind of like a hybrid between a dandelion and a spiky thing. And I do believe a lot of these entities are interdimensional, where they can pass through different realms and dimensions to our 3D realm. That's something else that I think these things are able to do. And because sometimes you'll see a UFO and it comes from one place to another place. It just is kind of like disappears out of nowhere. I have never ate a dandelion before, Abby, but I certainly know that they're edible. Maybe when I was little I ate one, but I don't think I've had them yet. But I think I've had some sort of tea with them in it. But no, I've not eaten them before, but I do believe they're edible. But of course, people could go look that up on their own, what they think of that. Right, and you see, that's like a hybrid. It's like a dandelion thing, but it's like a spiky plant too. And this is another kind of strange looking plant right here that was pretty interesting to see grow. I believe a lot of them were medical herbs that are now just random stray weeds now. You heard people eat dandelion salad. Oh yeah, people do eat that because, as I said, I remember reading that it's an edible plant. And there are people out there that do eat it and cultivate it. It's probably used as an herb at one time, and now they're just used as regular types of for people that want to have an interesting salad, they could use that in a salad. Because I think it's good to know what herbs are edible and what aren't, so you could, eat something if you need to. Andrew said, sorry guys, the vet phoned me, so had to answer. I'm back now though. Oh, Andrew, I'm glad you're back. All right. So Abby says, I love all plants. Besides thistles, they can be painful if you're not careful. Oh, I think those plants are very painful I either experienced it or heard about it. But yeah, they can be very painful, indeed. And it's a national flower of Scotland. Yeah, I think I know what plant that is. I've seen those before, and they can be thorny. Oh, by the way, my family, one time, they had a rose bush that I think my ancestor, my great-grandmother grew, and this hurricane came and the water ruined it. So, but anyway, they're growing a new rose bush, but the rose bushes are really nice, and they would be nice fresh roses, and they would be a good scent to them. It's, obviously you go to You go alien. If you go to a grocery store, you could find, a nice rose. But I know that, but you could get a rose from another place, like from a garden, and they also are nice too. Which, no one was arguing with me about that. I'm just making up like a hypothetical. You wear a kilt? That's so cool, dude. Uh, Shout out to you. That's awesome. I always wanted to wear that before, and I'm glad that you are proud in your Scottish heritage. And let's see, oops, I didn't know that I like them a bit more now because of that. Yes, yeah. And yeah, so those are really cool, and I think that the kilts are cool, and I like how they're worn with the thistles. It's a nice touch. All right, Andrew says, yeah, I love wearing kilts at a wedding, and I did it in the proper Scottish way, fully commando under the kilt. That is awesome. That's awesome. And kilts are so cool, and I've always loved hearing bagpipes. Oh, yeah, I love bagpipes. I have ancestors that are from southern Scotland and northern England, and they eventually went to London, and eventually I came here to US. Very different type of scenery from Scotland in a way, because it's Scotland. I think it's always, I'm told that Scotland is always cloudy and rainy. Well, it's cloudy and rainy here sometimes, but not all the time. And Andrew says, one piece of advice though, it can get very chilly under there very quickly. Oh, Andrew, it must take lots of discipline, to be able to maintain the kilt under those conditions. Yeah. So it's called a tartan, or I'm probably saying it horribly wrong, but there's like a type of plaid that's worn, because there's different types, different colors that people can wear. And yeah, Andrew said it's always wet and windy. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Andrew. Thank you. Glad I got that one right, because sometimes I'll say things that are the words that are not completely correct. And right, so yeah, so I remember bagpipes. I always thought they were fascinating when I was growing up, and I'm British on both sides. I'm a mixture of different European countries, but I am a mixture of different European countries, and I always thought the bagpipes were so fascinating. And one time I tried to make one, but it didn't really go too well. So the way you make a bagpipe is, it's best to get one that's already made. But there's different ways they do it. Because I thought the physics of it was interesting. How you're blowing into a pipe with a bag, but there's holes there. So they're able to do it because the way the pipes are manipulated for a sound to come out of it. Weather in Alberta is so odd, it changes on a dime. It's like that where I am too. I want to see if you can pronounce the capital of Scotland. Okay, let's see. Edinburgh. Let's see. I probably got that one wrong, because I know there's Edinburgh. There's maybe a way to say it that way. But yeah, I like the pronunciation of how it's actually said, because I know I said it in the Timu way. Oh, there's a rat right there in a tree. Edinburgh. It's probably not said like an iceberg. It's probably not said like that. But I think that I overused all my tries in saying it properly. And Jom says, a retracted message. Interesting.
Yeah, so we saw our first rat sighting tonight.
Okay, and in the burrow. Okay. Okay, Andrew says close. It's more like Ed and bruh. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I always like to learn new things because I from another planet and I'm not always familiar with the different words. Yeah, I'll be on the show and I'll pronounce things and oh, thank you, Andrew. And I'll pronounce things and it won't go, you know, it'll be kind of not the right way to pronounce it. And other times I get it. It's almost like a game. All right. All right. Have any cats attacked the tree rats before? Well, the cats don't usually climb into the trees. Yeah, the cats don't usually climb into the trees, but there was sometimes that the rats are lower on the ground. Sometimes Bubbles' brother will catch them. So yes, it has happened before, but a lot of times the cats don't go up there to get them. And I suppose if the tree rats were to come down, they would go and snatch them that way. You know, that's another possibility there. Yeah. So there is some fun facts about I nearly fell backwards, but so there's just some fun facts about if they catch them or not. Yes, the Scotland national anthem, a football game Scotland fans have been ranked the loudest fans in Europe, if not the world. I love the Scottish anthem. Whoa, what's happening here? A bird's fighting something. That was kind of, oh yeah, so it must be a bird fighting something. That was kind of wild for a second. Scared. Okay, and going back this way. All right. So Andrew says, I recommend listening to, I love the Scotland anthem. The anthem of Scotland, I think it's called Scotland the Brave, if I'm right. But yeah, that is a wonderful bagpipe song. Definitely. That's a very good anthem. I'm sure they are the loudest. Definitely. I have reddish lighting on. I have reddish cheeks. Hey, bro. Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. DJ's my bro. Welcome. So yeah, I have like reddish cheeks and over there in Scotland. It must be from that side that I got it from. And when I was little, I had very red hair when I was little, and it got older, got darker, but I still have some red highlights, especially in the beard. So yeah, I still have some traits from there. And I'm sure there's people that don't have red hair in Scotland, but that's some like stereotypical trait there. Oh, the flower of Scotland. I've never. Okay. Thanks, Andrew, for clarification. Okay, so where I am, it's 3:58 a.m. It's not. It's 9 a.m. Yeah, the garden is haunted by tree rats. Yeah, there's something mysterious, definitely. And yeah, right there's a strange looking vine. Okay, you see. This is a vine right there that looks kind of like a crazy Amazonian vine or something. I always thought it was interesting, but I don't quite know exactly what type of vine it is. Yeah, DJ of Timbaland is in there getting some more AI music, according to legends. So, yeah, I definitely think it's cool how turnips is something that I like to grow, which I haven't grown in a while. Well, that's good. You're relaxing all weekend. Yeah. So, with the turnips, that's another. Oh no. Yeah. Uh, so there is these other plants that the turnips I like to grow. I've eaten them raw, and they actually taste pretty good without it. But they're not supposed to heat them. Scared. Yeah, you're not supposed to heat them too much. You're supposed to heat turnips. You're not supposed to overcook or recook them because they have some toxin in them. But you cook it one time and everybody's okay. So that's another one I grow in the garden, sometimes around winter. Sounds like a good plan, and yeah. I always enjoy the moment. I believe that it's important to, when someone wakes up and lives their life, it's important to live every day as if it were the last day of your life. And, and to follow the heart intuition, and somehow just knows what you're supposed to become. And that's what I ask myself every day. And it led me to do what I'm doing now with all of you. So it definitely does work. Yeah, so real. So yeah, it's always another thing that helps me is living each moment in the present moment, go moment by moment. Because that, not living in the future or the past, but living in the present, I think is good. Oh, you are welcome. You are welcome. And that's why when you have an idea of risking failure or risking something from happening, it's just 100 years from now, we're likely not going to be here in this garden. We'll be in a better place. Or if we are, we'll be very, very ancient. So eventually, they say death smiles at us all. So yeah, that's why all the risks out the way and just do what must be done. And if something fails or doesn't work out right, it's, see, that's going to sprout out the flower right there. If something fails or doesn't go right, it's a learning experience. Because there's lots of failures that I have had, and there's people that I've known that could kind of, I feel, partnerships that didn't work out and things that didn't go well. But when the worst things happen, it was a learning experience and endurance, and it led me to do other things and learn different stuff, like being here, doing these streams. So that's why I think it's very cool to just let the dots connect. Say the dots may not connect in the moment, but when you look back, it makes sense. There is things that didn't make sense last year towards the end of the year, but now it's all connecting together, and I'm with all of you. So that's my philosophy in life. And if I'm here in 100 years, I'll be very grumpy old man. Yeah. Abby says, I need to get to the groceries tomorrow and want to get these pineapple spears and coconut water I saw. Live your life to the fullest, because the only thing that you're guaranteed in life is that you're going to die. Amen. I definitely agree with that. And Abby, something about pineapples. We're going to have a pineapple rant right now. So let's get right into it. So over here, as we just kind of not fall, which there's a couple of times I felt I was going to fall, but I didn't. So in this area right here, I grew pineapples. So the way pineapples can be possibly grown is you take the top of the pineapple, the pineapple head, and you go and you cut it off, the green part, like SpongeBob's house, the green part of SpongeBob's house, and you put it in water, and then you replant it. And one time it split into two different ones, and you have to have very, very cold, very warm weather to accomplish this. And you have a pineapple plant, and you can always put it in a pot, and then you can bring it inside when it gets cold. But yeah, you put the pineapple in that, and then you put it inside a pot, and then it's like the pineapple gets bigger and bigger. Then on top of it, there's a pineapple chilling there. So that's how that works. The best fact about pineapples is it makes your let's say the C and it tastes better. Tastes sweeter. Okay. Yeah. I have heard about that too. So for all of that pineapple fun, and we need as many of those in the spaceship as we can get, and that is what we have here on the ship. So that is the fun fact of the secret of the pineapples that we must have and learn. Okay. Yeah, you've heard of that too. Yeah, I've definitely heard of that. Yeah, power pine. Yeah, it's a spicy power-up. That's what the pineapple is. Yeah. Okay, and Andrew says, I can confirm I have conducted an experiment about it, and the results prove to be accurate. Well, we have our expert experiment from our spaceship scholar, has now been proven true. A pineapple is the saucy secret to making it taste like a tropical fun. Yeah. So there we go. All right, and it looks like the morning dew is setting in. And here we go, we have our fun facts. And let's see. Right, and those are so pineapples, as I said, they seem to be healthy in every single way, and they make everything taste as best as it can taste. Right. That is the most poetic way you could have worded that. 10 out of 10 for that. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. I am known as the alien poet. And yeah, you can definitely smell how cold it is, because basically with the smell of the cold, there's a crisp in the air, and there's different scents that come from Canada, and well, you, Abby, are right there in the heart of it. So yeah, there's different scents that come from the cold winter vortex as it's going against the different atmospheric pressures and the different trees and things and the frost. Like, say you're in a freezer and it has like a freezer smell. So yeah, definitely it does have a smell to it. And in this clip, this video that we're watching, you could definitely smell the cold through the phone. I'm scared. Whoa, what is this? It's a flying thing. Okay. It's a flying thing. I'm scared. Alright, and you got that. It's so bright because some extra light flipped on, so you kind of see it even better than before. Okay, and what do you think came first, the chicken or the egg? Okay, what was the hummingbird moth? It was a hummingbird moth hybrid. That's what that was. Definitely. It was pretty much an AI moth. Okay, let's see. What do you think came first, the chicken or the egg? I would say the goose. It's actually the goose. The reason why is that the goose was the one that the magical goose that was from some dark area like this came around and did a magic trick and brought an egg, and the egg hatched and it was actually a chicken. So there you go. All right, and Andrew says, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? That amount is depending on how far the woodchucker is willing to go chucking and how much he wants to go. It depends on his endurance. That's what it would depend on. How much would a wood... Okay, let's see. How much would a wood... No, I'm going to get this. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if woodchuck could chuck wood? How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Yeah, that is a tongue twister and a mind trick, and it sounds like I'm saying a bunch of sailor words at the same time. So it's almost like tripping on drugs, but you're not really tripping. It's a riddle fiddle with a little sizzle. Yeah, that it's some primetime entertainment, alien elimination. Todd, tell me what the breaking news is. I'm eager to know. And shout out to you, by the way. Good to see you. And that is some primetime entertainment. Let's look, it's a hater. He goes flat in the pavement. Bigfoot kicked him to the next dimension, putting them all in suspension. A woodchuck chucking wood, chucking and cackling and cuckling. The goose is becoming before the egg. The chicken may have came first. Maybe it was the chicken. Either way, it's going to be cooking and sizzling in the kitchen. Whoa. Okay, it looks like the puppies must be lurking. Yep. They're somewhere in there. All right, and Todd said, former Pittsburgh Steeler defense end Joe Green has passed away, just announced on Twitter. Rest in peace to him. That is shocking news. Thank you for keeping us filled in. Yeah, for the family and everything. Yeah, rest in peace. Wow. Yeah, you had to say it 3 times. Yeah. Okay, yeah, there are... Oh, see the eyes. Yeah, see the eyes. Definitely. Yeah, you say it 3 times. 3 times is a charm. Hanging out on the alien haunted farm. Eyes are darting back and forth. The banded puppies are pirating all the time and all along. They go into the forest and take berries and potatoes and gumbo and everything in between. They don't care if they're even called mean. They might go from Timu to Sheen. Right, guys, I'm off to head to the vet with my dog. I'll be back on when I get there. Peace and love. Peace and love, bro, Andrew. Thank you for hanging out with us. It's been a pleasure. Alien, you know Chuck Norris passed away late Thursday night in Hawaii. Yes, I'm aware about Chuck Norris. and I think it's very sad news. Rest in peace to him. He was a very, very excellent at what he did, and he was basically a real life superhero. Facts. And are there mountain lions in the area? There are mountain lions maybe north of me in another state. My great-grandfather saw a mountain lion. He saw a mountain lion over in up north of me. Later, Todd. Thank you for coming. Yeah, so I saw it north of me. No, I didn't see it, but my great grandfather saw it way up north. Oh, so there's like another. Okay, say there's like a state, right? And you go up across a lake, and you go to like another area. That's where he saw it. It's kind of a little ways from here, but not that far. But there is no mountain lions here. Have you seen mountain lions, Abby? And the thing is, one time there after the hurricane happened, that's where the Mexican banded puppy raccoon came from. There was a zoo breakout when that hurricane happened and it flooded everything. That's what happened then. Okay, they broke out some of the different critters, and one time I believe I saw.
That's a rat. I believe that I saw a
panther. There was this long black cat that looked really big like a dog and had a long tail. And I saw it at a distance, and then I saw it in like the woods behind me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be here for long." And I went to a better area. I went to a better spot. Yeah, and Abby says, yes, we have cougars here, and they are pretty creepy looking. My stepdad was attacked on the rig site he worked at by one. Whoa! Scared. Scared. Wow. That is messed up. Well, I hope he had a speedy. I don't know what damages he had on himself, but I hope he had a very speedy recovery and compensation for that one. That's something that is a crazy thing to experience. Wow. So yeah, I definitely do think that they're creepy. There's one time that somebody was camping, and when they were camping, they went out and they were in this area. So someone was not camping. They were going on a trail like I'm going on, but it was in the wilderness somewhere. It wasn't in like a controlled area like this. And there was a cougar following the dude around. And the dude didn't look like turn around or run. He just kind of like talking to the thing and just kind of walking backwards. That's what bro did. And he was able to get away from it, but it was stalking him the whole time. It bit half his ear off, but he is fine now and honestly has a cool mark and story to tell. Ah, yes. Yes. Well, I am glad
that he has a story to tell and he has a scar, because the scar, a scar proves that something wasn't able to kill somebody or destroy something. That's why the scars are really liked. And, they say
with scars that, it just means that they didn't get taken out. and having a cool story to tell is always awesome because anything that happens to you, like if it's something crazy or something bad, it's always a story to tell. And that's my philosophy too. So your stepdad thinks like how I think. And also you too. Yeah, they are like battle scars. Yeah, yeah. That is definitely what they are. They certainly are like battle scars. And they are, it makes you stronger. So, yeah, definitely a cool story to tell and battle scars indeed, out in the wilderness. So, I appreciate you telling me that story, and it's definitely a story to tell, and it's an excellent way to think. Yeah, and oh, we got our birds. The birds are on the stream now. Let's see.
Somewhere up there.
Yeah, so I think that when people have scars, it means that they've been through a couple of things, and a scar is an attractive trait. By the way, that it's known to be an attractive trait because are able to go through experience, have battles, and you're able to come out of it. So I'm glad that he was able to tell the tale and a cool story to tell indeed. Yeah. Now there's a puppy in there somewhere. Let's see. Yep, I hear him. And let's see, he's this way. He's kind of like in the background. I think I might get ready for sleep. I'm getting pretty tired, but see you tomorrow. Okay, Abby, see you on the stream tomorrow. Thank you for bringing Andrew and others here. Have a very good night. Thank you. All right, so, yeah. And this plant is, I don't know what it is exactly, but I'll figure it out one day. But, it's a plant that's chilling there. So I love it here, and thanks for making him a mod. That was very thoughtful. Oh, yeah. I love to make everybody a mod that I know of and, like, can talk to. Because, everybody could, like, do their thing and be part of the community. And my idea worked well. Yeah, so you're very welcome. Yeah, and he's in there. Uh-huh. I see him. I see both of them. Their eyes are darting around. And they're so cute. Yeah, and these banded puppies are just... There's something in the tree, too. It looks like all the critters are happy to be on the stream. So we're watching some banded puppies right now go through some trees and some, like I don't know, some tall grass. And they're kind of coming this way. There we go. That's them.
All right, and it looks like they are just going on their way into different parts. All right.
Let's see this. All right. So anyway, yeah, I I'm sure it looks like there could be either anacondas and jungle cats, but yeah, it's just cats, possums, and there are rabbits around technically, but they're very rare to see. But they do exist, and there's different white cats. You know, there's different cats that come around that you don't always see, but they are lurking around. Like, you know, not all of them are the same as the ones that you usually see here. There's other ones that come, you know, through here and there. All right, and yeah, this is a nice, you know, this is a nice gate fence where I would use it to kind of hide, not hide, but conceal some of the plants from some other animals. And yeah, so definitely UFOs, aliens are real. I do think that. And they taught humans different things and different technologies throughout time. And now more information is being exposed about it with the government disclosure website that they're going to be putting out. So yeah, I think, you know, sometimes people would, you know, keep raccoons as pets. I think Davy Crockett did that, and he slept in a tree with one. I think that legend. So that's all quite interesting, and definitely the haunted garden woods. Scared that we're in. All right. Yeah, so definitely lots of activity tonight, and we got to see the, you know, different little critters walking around. But yeah, so yeah, so those are what I think about those supernatural topics, and certainly I'm going to put at some point different trees in here that have to do with lemons and fruit, things like that. It's going to be pretty cool. And for now we have the elderberries, but usually they, you know, getting like fruit trees is a good idea too. But yeah, I do have an avocado tree growing, but it's inside right now because of the cold. It could affect things. Yeah, and there are, you know, mysterious things here that lurk around, and sometimes we see them on camera. It's basically like a Discovery Channel like live. Yeah. So yeah, so far we saw some tree rats, and we saw some lurking raccoons. But yeah, so yeah, the fruit trees are good. And another thing that I think is interesting is the concept of chickens and turkeys and stuff. Those are also good to have, and making, you know, your own eggs, and that type of style is good to have. You know, and growing food of your own is good as well. But yeah, they're definitely reptilian aliens are a thing, I think. And you know, that is linked to biblical narratives about it. The Bible and the different mythologies and different gods that existed. So I think all of that is very nice to study about, and I do think that the cryptids are a thing too. So you had those things that existed, and then they came in mythologies, and they mixed with human bloodlines, allegedly, according to different theories, which leads to these conspiracy theories that are being talked about today, right? And Definitely there are lizards in here in these different gardens lurking around. But not really right now because of the cold weather. Now, the iguanas, I think, they don't like the cold fronts that happen over there in Florida, and they just kind of like fall out the tree. Now, the thing about alligators and crocodiles is that they put their, if they're in like a snowy, cold place, if the water is about to freeze, like a frozen pond, they'll put their faces and their nostrils up, and you'll see a bunch of frozen mouths in the water and the ice. So I think it's a pretty cool concept that they're able to do. And like when something tropical, when they're in a tropical area, you have like snow and cold things happening. It's really kind of like two worlds colliding. Definitely. You see these things, that's how the seeds are produced. Right there. That's what the leaves are. The leaves are the seeds. It's just a fun fact. They're kind of like beans in a way. All right, and yeah, it looks like the morning dew is setting in on these. Really nice. I'm scared. And shout out to all you watching. I appreciate y'all being here while we talk about these different things and look at the different garden stuff. Yeah, and this thing is like a mythological, like alien looking. It kind of reminds me of the War of the Worlds. The creepy red stuff from that movie. That's what that reminds me of. So, yeah, some plants certainly look like they could be from outer space. And there are hybrid plants. And sometimes you'll have one random plant that's like a weed that grows all over the place, on a rare occasion. Like, and it'll just kind of pop out of nowhere. All right. And this is the cat house in the woods that the cats like. And over there is an older cat house that'll be worked on too. And, I put like a roof on it. I might put like a tin roof or something like that. It depends. So, yeah. All right, now, at this point in time, we have completed the stream. And we'll be live tomorrow doing another late night garden live. So, thank you all for being here, hanging out with me. And we'll see you all on the next one. And peace.